Some people look at Jenelle Evans and see someone who never had a chance. Others see someone who was given countless opportunities, but continued making the same mistakes over and over again. No matter where you stand, one thing is undeniable. Jenelle has one of the most controversial stories to ever come out of Teen Mom. So what happened to Jenelle Evans? When we first met Jenelle on MTV's 16 and Pregnant, she was just 17 years old and had recently given birth to her son Jace. Jace's father was not in the picture from the start, and almost immediately it became clear that motherhood wasn't something that Jenelle was prepared for. Instead of staying at home with her newborn, Jenelle was frequently shown wanting to go out with her friends, while her mom Barbara stepped in to care for Jace. Their relationship quickly became one of the most recognizable and explosive mother-daughter dynamics on reality television. Barbara constantly criticized Jenelle's decisions, while Jenelle felt like her mom never believed in her. Those screaming matches became a regular part of the show. And honestly, this is where public opinion first became divided. Some viewers felt like Barbara was too harsh. Others believed she was simply doing everything she could to protect her grandson. Not long after Jace was born, Jenelle started dating Kieffer Delp. Their relationship was incredibly toxic and marked by frequent breakups, reconciliations, and legal trouble.
You're both high.
During this time, Jenelle was arrested multiple times for various offenses, including drug-related charges, probation violations, and assault allegations. At one point, it honestly felt like every season ended with another mugshot or another trip to court. Eventually, Jenelle signed over primary custody to Barbara. Although it was intended to provide stability for Jace, it also became one of the biggest storylines in Teen Mom history. Over the years, Jenelle repeatedly tried to regain custody, while Barbara maintained that Jace was better off staying with her. After several rocky relationships, Jenelle met Nathan Griffith. At the time, fans were actually hopeful that this relationship would be different. Nathan encouraged Jenelle to get healthier, the two started working out together, and for a while, it looked like she was turning her life around. Not long after they started dating, they welcomed their son Kaiser, but that stability didn't last very long. Their relationship quickly became toxic, with constant arguments, multiple domestic violence allegations, and several run-ins with law enforcement.
Am I being arrested because I'm a guy?
Eventually, the relationship ended, and the two have continued to have a complicated co-parenting relationship over the years. This relationship almost felt like another fresh start that slowly turned into the same cycle that viewers have seen before. And then, David Eason entered the picture. This is the relationship that would completely change the trajectory of Jenelle's life. The two met in 2015, got engaged, welcomed their daughter Ensley, and eventually got married. At first, Jenelle described David as the person who finally brought stability into her life, but viewers quickly began raising concerns about his behavior. Over time, David became involved in multiple public controversies, many of which also affected Jenelle's career. One of the biggest turning points came in 2018 when David posted homophobic comments online. MTV ultimately decided to cut ties with him. Jenelle remained on the show for a while longer, but David was no longer allowed to be filmed. Then came the incident that changed everything. In 2019, David admitted to unaliving their family dog, Nugget, claiming he was protecting their daughter after the dog allegedly snapped at her. The story immediately made national headlines. Public outrage was massive. MTV ended its relationship with Jenelle shortly afterwards, not because she was involved in the incident herself, but because the ongoing controversy surrounding David had become impossible for the network to ignore. Around the same time, Child Protective Services temporarily removed the children from the home, while authorities investigated the family's living situation. The children were later returned after the case concluded. Even after that, public trust in Jenelle had changed dramatically.
See a dramatic change, not here you're going to dramatically change.
One of the biggest storylines in Jenelle's life has always been her relationship with Jace. For years, Barbara had primary custody, while Jenelle continued trying to prove that she had changed. After years of custody battles, therapy, and court proceedings, Jenelle was finally awarded full custody of Jace in 2023. For a brief moment, it felt like things were finally coming full circle. Many fans hoped that this would be the happy ending they've been waiting for, but only a few months later, things took a turn. Jace reportedly ran away from home multiple times, leading to welfare checks and renewed public concern about what was happening in the household. Around the same time, David was accused of assaulting Jace, which led to criminal charges. This incident reignited national attention on the family, and once again, people began questioning whether Jenelle was putting her children first. Not long after, Jenelle and David separated. For a while there, this seemed like a real decision that Jenelle was making. She moved out of state with the children and even filed for a protective order. She also accused David of some heinous crimes. For a brief moment, many viewers believed this was finally the fresh start they've been waiting to see. She had a full-on divorce party. People were rooting for her again. But less than a year later, the two reconciled. And that's when a lot of longtime fans began to lose hope that things would ever change. Since leaving MTV, Jenelle has stayed in the headlines through social media, interviews, business ventures, and subscription-based content. She's continued documenting her life online while dealing with ongoing public scrutiny surrounding her relationships, family dynamics, and legal issues. Although she's no longer on Teen Mom, she has remained one of the most talked about former cast members. I think what's interesting about Jenelle is how public opinion has shifted over the years. In the beginning, a lot of viewers saw a teenager who grew up in a chaotic environment and simply didn't have the tools to become a parent. There was always this hope that she'd mature, heal, and eventually break the cycle. But as the years passed and Jenelle became an adult, with more resources and more opportunities to make different choices, that sympathy slowly started to fade. Because every time it seemed like she was turning a corner, another controversy followed. Looking back over the past 15 years, Jenelle's story almost felt like watching the same cycle repeat itself. A new relationship, a new beginning, promises that things will be different, then another public fallout. I don't think Jenelle's story can be explained with one bad relationship or one bad decision. It's years of unresolved trauma, unhealthy relationships, legal issues, and choices that not only have affected her own life, but her children's lives as well. Whether you believe Jenelle is a victim of her own circumstances, or someone who has repeatedly chosen chaos despite having opportunities to change, one thing is undeniable. She has one of the most complicated and controversial stories out of the entire Teen Mom franchise. Anyways, y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe to see more videos like this, and don't get me started on Farrah.